Aloft is a brand new, self-described, cozy survival game that is perfect to play alone or with up to 8 friends in multiplayer, and has been released into early access just in time to help you get through the winter. And I've got to say, after binging this game for a few days, it really is a fun, chill survival experience that's a great way to relax in the afternoon and let those stresses melt away. Stay tuned and I'll tell you how you can win a free copy of this game for Steam, as well as the top 7 things I wish I'd known at the start that I really believe will make every new player's experience in this amazing flying island paradise even better. Oh, and I've got one more bonus tip at the end that you won't want to miss. This video is sponsored by Funcom, who have provided me with some game keys to give away. Aloft does a really good job of teaching you to play if you just take the time to find the information, whether it's on the screen or in a tip while sleeping. But honestly, that can be a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to figure out a new game, so I'm going to give you one at the beginning that I literally read off the screen. First tip is third person. You'll automatically go into third person when flying with your glider or driving your floating island. But what happens if you want to check out that hot dad bod you got when you're not flying? Well, hit F4. That'll allow you to toggle between first and third person views in the game. I generally prefer to play in third person, but it took me about 6 hours of gameplay to notice this on the sleep tip screen, and by then I was already used to first person, so I'm just going to go with it for now. But when I do want to take a look at the goods again, I hit F4. The second tip won't be for everyone, but if you're like me, it will really help your enjoyment of this game. Aloft makes grinding into a mini-game by adding a bar to most every action that allows you to speed it up by clicking in the right spot. I'm so used to spam clicking while grinding and just kind of letting my mind wander that I constantly messed up this minigame as I had to pay attention, and it caused it to take longer. Luckily, in settings, there's an option to change it to press and hold or to double click. If you do the press and hold, however, it's going to mess up your charged attacks when fighting, so I recommend putting it at double click. This gives you the option to play the minigame or just double click and let it do its thing. Tip number 3 is always eat and sleep before getting in a fight. Making eating and drinking semi-required by giving a needed food buff has become very popular with both gamers and developers over the last few years, and the team behind Aloft has continued this trend. You get a decent pool of health at the start and won't take fall damage and accidentally die, like in Valheim, so eating while building or just hanging out in a safe place isn't all that necessary. However, you are going to want those buffs when you start fighting through the corruption. You get a buff for sleeping or just laying down to rest on top of food buffs and a hydration buff, which increases attack speed. Check out your active buffs by clicking on the heart tab in the menus. You really can stack up a good amount of buffs if you plan well. I recommend eating the prepared meals you find along the way instead of the raw fruits, if it's at all possible when fighting through the corruption. This gives you better buffs for longer and lets you save those raw ingredients for when you're learning to cook later on. Now, if you run out of prepared meals, you do what you have to do, but don't worry, I'll show you a way to find more food in the bonus tip at the end. In a refreshing addition to progression through learning blueprints, Aloft allows you to sketch craftable objects you come across while exploring to learn the recipe so you can craft it yourself. I really like this idea because, obviously I found this thing, why wouldn't I be able to figure out how to build it? That's cool. Now, this doesn't guarantee that you're able to make the ingredients to craft the object you sketched, but it can certainly help out and save a good amount of time on your journey to build the perfect floating island sanctuary. In order to do this, you're going to need to craft yourself a sketchbook, then grab some paper and charcoal. Tip number 4 is to try to sketch everything, with the emphasis on the word try. The cost of each sketch is 1 paper and 1 charcoal, so try everything to see what is available by opening the book and pointing at the objects. The ones that highlight will show you which ones are sketchable. Early game, you're not going to have a lot of paper and charcoal, so you're going to want to choose what you think will be the most beneficial for you right then. I wasted a lot of paper and charcoal early on by learning things I really didn't need or plan to use anytime soon. For example, I learned all the stone building parts when I hadn't even built a wood cabin yet. I also learned an advanced crop plot that I'm nowhere close to making. Unfortunately, there's no way to know what the crafting items are until you sketch it and use that paper and charcoal, so you may end up wasting some. I guess I gotta keep looking for blueprints. Like one of these baskets. Tip number 5 is to sketch a basket as soon as possible. Aloft doesn't have weight as an inventory factor, and instead limits inventory by the number of slots available. Even though weight isn't an issue, you're still going to want to empty out your pockets, so you can keep grabbing everything you see. To help you along, you're going to learn some different specialized containers for almost everything, like there's a special container for rope, like a rope tree or something, I guess. If you're like me, you will still want to be able to simply dump out your inventory in one spot, or sort through your seeds as you collect them. Baskets are the cheapest early game storage with the cost of just 10 leaf cloths. I thought the chest was going to be the best option, so I sketched that first, only to find out that I was unable to make it yet. When I could make it, I noticed that it was much more expensive and only gave me 50% more storage slots while taking up twice as much space on the ground. The basket gives you 8 slots and the chest gives you 12, so grab a sketchbook and sketch yourself a small woven basket. Oh, and they come in different sizes if you don't like this tall one. Continuing on with blueprints and progression, tip number 6 is that you will learn the blueprints in the same order no matter where you learn them. I was constantly worried that I missed touching one of the magic rocks that teach you the things, but luckily I had a dev join my Twitch stream and give me this tip, telling me that they were not location specific, but they're learned in the same order so you can't miss anything important. So, if you haven't learned a specific blueprint yet, just keep moving forward and searching new islands and touching the rocks. There's no need to backtrack for specific blueprints. Oh, and as for that cooking plate thing, in the demo it was super early on, but they moved it back a little bit for the early access release. I found it on the 4th set of islands, so it's not too far, but it's a little longer than I expected. Tip number 7 is that adding more sails helps, sometimes. Once you unlock the helm, you'll be able to build the sails to make your island an awesome flying mobile base. What I mean by help sometimes is that, in my testing, I couldn't increase the speed, but I was able to help the maneuverability. There are 3 different types of sails on this that control lift, moving forwards, and rudders, which is turning. You'll need to add enough lifts, sails, and rudders to get to the dotted line and make your island move. I tooled around like this for a while, but then I wanted to see if I could make it go faster. I went from 3 sails to 7 sails and didn't see any noticeable difference in speed as I built them or as I dismantled them. I did, however, make it turn on a dime by going from 3 rudders to 6 rudders. Honestly, I didn't look at lift as it wasn't something I was really worried about at the time. So my recommendation is do some testing on your island to figure out what combination is best for your style of driving. Do you want to keep it tight or let it go a little bit loose on you? Oh, and if you test the lift, let me know in the comments down below. Finally, the bonus tip I promised. The door kit may have a funny name, but it's going to become one of your best friends as you explore the islands. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, so please correct me in the comments if I'm not. There are hidden treasures on the islands that have great loot in them. I was able to find recipes and cooked food in almost all of them, as well as some rare items and shiny stones that are hard to find early on. If you see something that doesn't look right, poke it with your door kit. I found treasures marked by rocks shaped in an X, in a circle, and a surprising one by a tree with just a single flower above it. I found 2 of these actually, so I don't think it was a coincidence. Don't worry about using it too much, as you can always put the grass back if you don't like the way it looks, or you don't want all that grass clogging up your inventory. So look everywhere, and if it looks weird, poke it. That's my motto. I hope you found some of these tips helpful, and I'd love to know what you would add to the list. Let me know in the comments down below. If you made it all the way to the end, I'd love to offer you one of 2 free game keys I am giving away. All you need to do to enter is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, and comment down below. Made it to the end, I want a free game. If it looks weird, poke it. Something like that. Doesn't really matter. I got a bot randomizer that'll pick a winner 7 days after release of this video. So make sure you're paying attention to YouTube comments to see if you've got a reply. That's how I'll notify you. I'll also post the winners on X and YouTube, or you can follow me at The Survival Bob. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the game. And remember, if you're going to be a Bob, have fun with it.